Hello friends, before giving you the format of learning design, there are certain things that you all have to know, like the educational objectives, the Bloom's taxonomy, the different action verbs, clear? And some basic important points, clear? Important points. I will not try to discuss the things elaborately. What I will do is I'll try to touch upon it in a gist manner, but in a way that it will be very much helpful for your learning design. You will not have any issues. You look at the slide, you will see the Bloom's taxonomy. Now taxonomy means the classification. While talking about the Bloom's taxonomy, it refers to the classification of learning objectives. It refers to the classification of different learning objectives which the educator sets for the learner in order to enable them to obtain the learning objectives and have a desired learning outcome. Professor Benjamin S. Bloom of the University of Chicago is considered to be the pioneer in this field. Okay, he was the pioneer who has brought up this taxonomy. Now, while talking about the educational objectives, we should understand that the three domains are being focused. That is the cognitive domain, the affective domain, and the psychomotor domain. So while you are asked about the classification of educational objectives, you should remember it can be classified under three domains, that is the cognitive, affective, and the psychomotor domain. So you can remember it as CAP. CAP, C for cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. It's very easy way to remember. You see, if I have to discuss about the three domains elaborately, I'll be needing more time. However, I'll try to cover up in this particular slide itself, and especially you'll be needing this cognitive domain. So you'll have to know, and I've already prepared another slide specifically on this cognitive domain by Benjamin Bloom. Let us see. When we talk about cognitive, remember it focuses on the mental skills. Cognitive, the mental, okay, the intellectual part. Whereas the affective domain, it stresses on the growth in feeling or the emotional areas and the attitudes. Whereas the psychomotor, it's very clearly been stated, the psychomotor, it implies the hand and eye coordination, the activities that requires both the hand and eye coordination. So the manual and the physical skills are being focused under the psychomotor domain. You should know that psychomotor domain can also be called as the cognitive domain. Let us see. Cognitive domain involves knowledge and the development of intellectual skills, the intellectual abilities also you can say. So the ability to recall and recognize. You can recall and recognize. When a student is able to recall and recognize, then the cognitive domain is being focused. So, for instance, when you ask some students to recall, if they had already been taught about the 7 wonders, I've written 6 here. If you ask them to say something about the 7 wonders, if they are able to recall it, they're using the memory power. So this comes under the cognitive domain. The affective domain, as I said, it involves the feeling, the emotional part, empathy, attitudes. Clear? So, like take for example, if a child is being able to value time. Okay, so the sense of value, the child is able to understand that he should not waste his time during the leisure time. How he should use the time. If that sense comes to him, then definitely the affective domain is focused. All right, then again the child's honesty, this is again affective domain. Whereas in psychomotor, as you see, if the child is able to do something, okay, like the ability to drive, swim, then bicycle ride, two-wheeler, four-wheeler, these are skills. So it doesn't need just one particular sense organ. Okay, the other sensory organs is required and it is being used. So this comes under the psychomotor domain. Okay, so it includes the physical movement, coordination and use of motor skills. Now let's come, I shall discuss about the cognitive in my next slide. However, I think the affective and psychomotor domains are clear. If not, then please let me know. I shall prepare another slide for you. Certain terms that you'll be using in the learning design. So let us just clear out. Here comes the factual knowledge, which can be referred to as FK. The name itself, by the name itself we can understand factual knowledge. It is based on something which is real, which is fact, okay, which can be proven that it occurs. Clear? So it's always right. When the response is correct, it's always right. Clear? So it is based on the particular subject and discipline. What has been told, you have to remember it, and once it has been asked, you responded. So the response is correct. It is based on facts. Clear? So that comes under the factual knowledge. Next, conceptual knowledge, which can be referred to as CK. So this conceptual knowledge, if you carefully listen to it, concept means formation of understanding. Clear? So what happens is that when you study something, when you are being informed about something, you draw a concept about that particular thing. Clear? In the subject, what happens? You learn and have a proper understanding about the concept, the terms, the theories, principles, classifications, categories, the concept about the meaning, definitions. Clear? So when you have an understanding about the concept, then your conceptual knowledge has taken place. Clear? So it implies understanding the concept in order to solve problem. So definitely when a student understands, then when the student understands, then he will definitely be able to solve the problem. Clear? If he is able to understand, then in whichever way he can sort it out, he can deal with it. So conceptual knowledge means drawing out a proper understanding and having a proper concept and idea about what is being told. Next, procedural knowledge, which can be also referred to as PK. Now, just try to understand that procedure implies the procedural knowledge, means a procedure, a certain technique. If you learn the technique, then you will be able to do it. You don't need to have a proper understanding or draw a concept about it. If you know the technique, you can solve it. I hope it is clear. Means if you have a particular skill, then definitely you will be able to do. Like take for example, learning to do mathematics. If you're clear with the formulas, then definitely you can solve it. Okay? Is that clear? I hope I'm being able to make you understand. In conceptual knowledge, what happens? We form a concept and accordingly we are understanding it, and having understood, we're able to solve it. But in procedural knowledge, we don't really need to understand. When we are told something, when we learn, we develop the skill, then definitely we are able to do. Okay, let's proceed. Yes, and just look here, procedural knowledge is also known as implicit knowledge, know-how. Okay, you know how to do. If you know how to do, you will be able to solve it. And also imperative knowledge. See, the students might not know or understand the reason behind a procedure. It is like developing the skill to do, and therefore the child is able to obtain the marks. He might not have a proper understanding to that particular thing. It's memory can be used, his memory power, the retention power. If he is able to retain, he can vomit it. Clear? Next, declarative knowledge. See, when we talk about the declarative knowledge, will be more clear by looking when we try to compare with the conceptual knowledge, procedural knowledge, and the declarative knowledge. Look, just see to this very carefully. Conceptual knowledge. Knowledge of or understanding of concept, right? We can acquire this concept through, by reading something, viewing something, listening to it, experiencing, and having a reflective mental activity. Alright, involving ourselves into reflective mental activity. Whereas procedural knowledge is knowing how to do something. Simply how to do something. Okay, you know how to do, and accordingly you solve the problem. Just knowing how to do. Whereas declarative knowledge, it is a very much conscious effort where you need a proper concept. All right, you have to have a proper idea. You have to also know that it is existing. Yes, it is based on factual knowledge also. All right, so basing on facts and drawing a proper concept, you can declare that it is so and so. All right, so you are very much aware about what you're saying, it is correct. Coming to the metacognitive knowledge, which is also referred to as MK. In simple words, we can say that when a person is able to understand his ability, his capacity as to what he is supposed to do and how he is supposed to do, then definitely he is making an awareness about his own self. Clear? And when he is being able to do that, then definitely he will try to make use or adopt certain procedure to improve upon it. Clear? So, making use of the appropriate techniques and method to improve one's own experiences, it can be referred to as cognitive knowledge. For instance, if a child knows that he is not being able to pay attention, alright, he is not being able to be attentive. So, if he realizes that because of certain things he is being distracted, what he can do is he can avoid those things. Alright, so in this way he is trying to form a habit of improving his weaknesses, his drawbacks, and overcoming it. If this technique is being adopted, that means he is able to think and rethink to make an improvement in himself. Okay. We can also say that it is a process of self-assessing or self-correcting. When a child is able to learn something, if he can express it in his own words, then definitely he is stressing on the metacognitive knowledge. I hope this is clear. We shall further know when we actually start up with the learning design. So we shall meet again. One thing, remember that whatever we have done, all these will be needed in our learning design. I'm trying my best to cover up maximum points in a single slide. So your responsibility lies to take the best out of it. Clear? I'm doing my best and you are to do your part. Clear? So don't stop learning. It is never too late to begin. Remember that. Take care. Stay safe.